The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Smoke Report. As always, my name is Evan Smoke. I want to send some prayers out to those affected by the hurricane last week. As someone who's been studying in Northeast Georgia at UGA, wasn't there for the brunt of the weather, but obviously as someone with deep connections to the area, I want to make sure you guys know I'm thinking about you guys. Obviously the weather affected some games last Friday night. Winter Park at Brunswick, Berrien versus Bacon, and Frederica at Valwood have all been canceled. Wayne and Appling, which was supposed to happen last Friday night, September 1st, has now been moved to this Thursday, September 7th. Once again in Baxley, Georgia. New Hampstead and Bradwell Institute, two great schools in the 912 area, met up last Friday night in a great matchup. People thought Bradwell Institute might have something for the Phoenix, but it ended up being 42-25 New Hampstead's favor. You move forward with the Brantley County, once again playing host to a Savannah school. This week in Candy Bay, a similar result, 17-6 for the Herons over Beach. Camden and Glen, a great preseason matchup that everyone hyped up, didn't really live up to it. Between the bricks last Friday night in Glen County Stadium, Camden walks in and defeats the Terrors 44-13. Charlton County, once again with another border war, this time on the road in Florida, goes down to West Nassau. However, a similar result happens as a 22-20 victory for the West Nassau team. Clinch County, back in their winning ways after an early season loss last week. They once again find themselves in the win column as Clinch defeats Miller 28-0. Statesboro and Effingham, another great coastal matchup in the 912. Actually did kind of live up to the hype. Great matchup last Friday night in Guyton, but the Effingham County Rebels defeat the Statesboro Blue Devils 24-19. Jeff Davis had their home opener last weekend, and something with the weather may or may not have happened. Game got played Swainsboro comes into Hazelhurst and takes care of the Yellow Jackets, 32-0. Trulin and Long County, two smaller schools matching up. Long County wins this time, 38-0 in favor of the Blue Tide. Pierce County once again handles business last Friday night as they hosted Metter. Bears 47, Tigers 10. Jenkins and Richmond Hill, a Saturday matchup rare here in the 912, win in the favor of the Hill as the Wildcats defeated Jenkins 28-7. South Effingham and Islands, another one of those mid-Atlantic Georgia schools, once again goes in favor of the 912. South Effingham 35, Islands 0. Baldwin made their trip down from Milledgeville the other night to Waycross, Georgia to play Ware County. On senior night, the Gators took care of business. They dominated early on, and even with a late push by the Baldwin team, Ware still easily wins 48-20. Coffee, Liberty, and McIntosh Academy were all open this week, and we look forward to get back under the Friday night lights this Friday. That's all I have this week, folks. Can't wait to see you next week, and as always, I want all the smoke.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Sean. Good to be here talking high school football, college football in swing now, and I guess tonight, first pro football game of the season. So definitely know how I'm going to hopefully spend my weekends going forward.
And Kevin, we're all here. We're all safe. Thank the good Lord. We did have a hurricane that came through last week. Kind of put everybody, in a tailspin there for a day or two. I don't know about you guys, but I was without power for over 48 hours. A lot of people just got power back over here in our area yesterday. So some inconveniences there. We had a few games that got moved, and really one of the first games that we wanted to briefly touch on, because we talked about it last week, was the big Appleton County Wayne County game. That game was set to be played over in Baxley this past Friday night, and the powers that be got together. I think Baxley got a ton of rain and decided to move that game or postpone that game. Oh, and just by the way, both of those teams were off this Friday, so they're going to play that game on Thursday night, Kevin. So it should be a good one over there at Jimmy Swain Stadium.
Yeah, everybody got geared up and ready to go for that one. Last Friday night, the hurricane unfortunately put that one on hold. I guess you can't ask for a better scenario that both teams actually had the next weekend off, where it was real simple to reschedule this one. Everybody wants to play this one. It's a backyard brawl, highly anticipated matchup. These teams are obviously neighboring counties, so they've been going at it for years, and this is probably the biggest matchup that I can remember in a long, long time between these two teams. Appleton County ranked second in AA, 1-1 on the season, but that loss was a 20-17 loss to Ware County, and they gave the Gators all they wanted a couple of weeks ago. And then, Wayne County sitting there 2-0, coming off a 14-0 win over a good Brooks County team. From what I understand, two big plays in that ball game by the Yellow Jackets offensively. And, we said it last week, Sean, what gives in this game? Two great offenses, two great defenses, a lot of athletes, two good coaching staffs, a lot of great assistants on both of these staffs. They know each other well. All they've had to do is take that game plan and maybe tweak it a little bit in case they have some players that were banged up and are going to be back, or hopefully nobody gets hurt in practice this week and they have to, change things again. But everything should be set and ready to go. The interesting things, they're playing on Thursday night. I don't know what went into that decision versus Friday night, but all signs point to a great one. And I look for it, Sean, to be a defensive battle, maybe an old-fashioned football game, if you will. Last year was 7-0. It's probably going to be more than that, but it might be a race to 20. And I'll stick with what I said last week. It's probably going to come down to the fourth quarter and who can make the clutch plays, whether it's offensively or defensively or even on special teams when the chips are down.
And Kevin, I would think, and I don't know, I haven't talked to either one of these coaches, but I would think that probably referees went into moving that game to Thursday night.
Good point.
Because there are a shortage of referees. We've already had a couple of games moved to Thursday nights that were, originally scheduled for Friday. So my guess is didn't have the referees to do it. So therefore they're going to play this thing on Thursday. So if you get a chance, get out there and go see that one. It's going to be a good one at Jimmy Swain Stadium this Thursday night. But, Kevin, our game of the week is going to be really a battle of two titans here. You've got the defending 5A champs going to play the defending 4A champs. Both of these teams are undefeated. Both of these teams, oh, by the way, are still ranked number one in their respective classes. Ware County's got to get on a bus, travel over to Savannah to take on Benedictine, and probably what is the premier game in the state for this Friday night. So, wasn't too kind to the Ware County Gators the last time they went over there. They wound up losing that game to Benedictine. Some iffy calls there, but you're always going to get that if you go on the road. But should be a great, great game over there at Memorial Stadium in Savannah on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, two defending state champions going at it, the 5A champ and the 4A champ. 2 years ago, it was a high-scoring game. And I guess, Ware County came out on the short end of that one. Like you said, some controversy involved in that one. Last year, more of a low-scoring ball game. Ware won that one, of course, as part of that state championship season. Maybe this year is played somewhere in the middle between those two scores. But again, two great teams, two great head coaches. They're going to know each other well because of the history in recent years. So, they obviously got to study the film and see how the teams are different this year. But they're further ahead in terms of scouting out the opponent because I doubt a whole lot's changed other than some personnel, of course. But the schemes are very similar and they know tendencies and whatnot. But, Sean, if I had to take a guess, and only a guess, in terms of who would win this ball game, if I had to give an edge somewhere, maybe I give it to the Gators, and maybe I do so because of their defense, maybe making the difference in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming off a big win over, they beat a really good Baldwin team who came in undefeated 48-20. That score's a little bit misleading, Kevin. That game was 48-7 when they put the JV in, and basically the JV played the whole second half of the game. And that's when Baldwin was able to get two scores on the JV. And then you got Benedictine, who had a big travel day, had to go all the way up to Westminster. Played a Westminster team there that's also another 4A team, but kind of struggled. Did win that game like 27-13 or 27-14, but really did not pull away in that game till late. I don't know if they were kind of looking down the road, or maybe Westminster's a little bit better than everybody gave them credit for. But should be a good one there Friday night as the Gators got to go on the road and try to defend that undefeated season and go over there and see if they can get a win against their very, very quality opponent. So, but we'll move on. We've got Bacon's going to be travel over to Atco, Kevin. Bacon's game got postponed this week, so they didn't get a chance to play this past Friday night. South Effingham's going to travel to Bradwell. Bradwell got that big win over Liberty County, so we'll see if they can keep things going. And then South Effingham, I believe, has got a win under their belt. So this could be a battle of see who can stay in that win column. And then the next game, Kevin, we want to talk about is Johnson of Savannah is going to be taking on our Brantley County Herons. We've been talking about Brantley every week, Kevin, because they are undefeated on the season. They're probably going to be undefeated after this Friday night, or at least I hope they are. Johnson of Savannah lost this past Friday night to Windsor Forest by a score of 10-7. Brantley won against I think it was Islands or Beach. Who do they play, Kevin?
Beach,
and it was a kind of a closer score than what I expected, but I don't think Brantley had their starting quarterback. I think they started the young freshman, which is Coach Canada's younger son that started there at quarterback, so they really didn't have the offensive firepower that they're normally accustomed to with the senior, calling the signals. But again, I think Brantley gets it done again. And by the way, another game at Caney Bay there.
Yeah, I think there were 30-point favorites in that one and won it like 17-6. So I thought maybe they sleptwalked through the game a little bit, but or maybe we're already thinking about going to the beach as they were playing beach on Labor Day weekend. But anyway, they are 3-0, and they are playing the Johnson Atom Smashers, which a top 5 team in terms of nicknames in the state of Georgia, but not a top 5 team in the rankings, unfortunately. And I think you're going to get your wish, Sean. The Brantley County Herons are going to hold up their end of the bargain. They're going to stay undefeated. If this were a basketball game, I would say they might be in trouble. But this is football, and Brantley County is going to win it. And we'll just see if Pierce, as we'll talk about them in a little bit, will hold up their end of the bargain and have 2 undefeated teams going at it like you have wanted since the very beginning of this high school football season.
Yeah, start that region play there with 2 undefeated teams. That'll be a good Friday night. But let's move on. We got New Hampstead's going to travel down to Camden after that big win over Glenn Academy. Then we got Cook's going to travel down to Clinch. Clinch finally gets another home game. Cook's not going to do them any favors, though. Cook's a very, very talented football team, so Clinch will definitely have their hands full this Friday night. Kevin, we got Effingham going to travel over to Southeast Bullock in a game that's going to be a good one there on Friday night. Effingham coming off a big win over Statesboro. Close game, Kevin, 24-19 victory. And Statesboro has already beaten this Southeast Bullock team. Really a close game, about I think it was a 3-point spread there. So we'll see who shakes out as a winner on that game as well. But should be a good matchup there as Effingham travels over to take on Southeast Bullock. Also, Frederica, Kevin, was supposed to be open this week, but come to find out, I believe that Coach Derrick has found them a game. They're going to be traveling to Bluffton, South Carolina. This is going to be a make-good game. With those guys being canceled last week and having an open week, they were able to make this game happen. So to get those guys on the field to see what happens there over in South Carolina for Frederica. And then another game that's really, really interesting to me, Kevin, is Metter at Jeff Davis. Metter coming off the big loss to Pierce County, but Jeff Davis, they kind of struggled with Swainsboro, so we'll see which one of those teams can get back on the winning side of things. And then the game that you just foreshadowed there, Kevin, Pierce at Liberty. Pierce undefeated on the season. Got to go over to Liberty. Liberty kind of licking their wounds after losing to Bradwell. So we'll see what happens there. But I look for the Pierce County Bears to come out on top of this one.
Yeah, Pierce, it seems to be rolling right along. They were impressive last week against a solid Metter team. And, this Liberty County team has not been able to score points here in the early going. And, Pierce looks tough on both sides of the ball. And I would think they would win this one going away Friday night.
Yeah, that defense for Pierce is pretty special. They had, I think they gave up less than some single-digit rushing yards on the night against Metter there this past Friday night. So pretty stout when your defense only gives up, 9 or less yards there on the rushing side of the ball. So congratulations there to the Pierce County Bears. Long is going to be open this week, and then Statesboro is also going to be open this week. So got some teams taking a break. They get 2 during the season, so a lot of them are jumping on that bandwagon. But, Kevin, let's take a break. We're going to come right back here and talk about the rest of the game set up for this Friday night. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're going to tell you about the rest of the games slated for this Friday night. Kevin, all of these games are going to be played. You're going to be on the call there at Glenn County Stadium. We're going to be talking about the games that are part of the Border Classic. It's a 3-day setup over there at Glenn County Stadium where the Georgia high school teams are going to be taking on Florida high school teams, and we're just going to start on this 3-day event. The first day, of course, is going to be Thursday. We're going to talk about the Charlton County Indians going to be taking on the University Christian out of Jacksonville there. And Charlton comes into this game, Kevin, winless on the season. They've had a couple of close games, lost a tight one this past Friday night to West Nassau. lost a real tight game to Jeff Davis to open the season. But so we'll see if they can get back on the winning side of things. But, I don't think University Christian is going to make it too easy for them.
Yeah, they've lost some tough ones. You're right. Charlton has, you mentioned the first one against Jeff Davis, 23-20. I think they lost to Yulee in their middle game, 31-20, and then lost that game to West Nassau, which will also be in this Border Classic. This weekend they lost that one 22-20. So a couple of tough losses there for Charlton. Hopefully they can get over the hump, keep their heads right and get in the win column. I know they got to be hungry for it. If revenge is a big thing for high school teams, which I know it is, they got a chance to avenge a loss to this University Christian team last year. University put it on Charlton in the opening game of this classic last year, 33-0. Charlton was handcuffed in that game last year, played without their starting quarterback, could not get the offense going whatsoever. So hopefully that won't be the case this year. But University Christian 1-1 on the season so far in 2023. Lost 27-12 against a Reigns team, also out of Jacksonville, and won their game last week 49-23 over, I think it's North Florida Christian High School. So a high-scoring game for them there. But hopefully Charlton can get that offense going this time and come out on the winning side and get some mojo going after some tough losses to start the season.
Exactly. Kevin, that game's slated for 4:30 on Thursday. Then the nightcap on Thursday will be the Glenn Academy Red Terrors going to be taking on Baker County. Baker County played Richmond Hill last year in this Border Classic, was able to come away with a win 35-32. Glenn coming off of that kind of that brutal loss to Camden this past Friday night. So we'll see if they can get back on the winning side of things. But it's not going to be easy for the Red Terrors. They're facing a very good Baker County team.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this Border Classic, first of all, is it's the same teams, this in it. Most of the matchups have changed. We'll go through that. A couple of them are the same. One was that game we already talked about. Glenn in a new matchup against Baker County. You mentioned that Baker beat Richmond Hill last year in one of the better games. It was played as the finale last year on that Saturday night. Now, Glenn right back in the same spot they were last year in this Thursday night game. I talked with Coach Rock about that just today on our podcast, and he likes this Thursday night spot. Not overly concerned about one less day of practice because it's one less day of practice for Baker County too. I think he really likes Sean having that Friday off. You know, he can maybe go sit on the beach or whatnot and then maybe get out and watch some high school football if he wants to, or spend the night with his wife or whatever, and give his coaches, some time off too after a little bit of a, grind maybe to start out the season. But Glenn was in a monsoon last year, Sean, in this very spot, if you remember, and we talked about that again on the podcast against a real good Creekside team. This Baker County team had a really good running back last year, reminded me a lot of Brunswick High's Ernest Palmer, who played back in the late 90s, sort of a version of a Warwick Dunn, if you will. I think that kid has graduated. That's probably good news for Glenn Academy in this one, but I think they still have a real athletic quarterback. Baker County does. They're going to be the focal point of the offense. I think they run a lot of read option type stuff with him. So I think, again, the key for Glenn is to play good defense. They didn't do that last week. Missed over 30 tackles against Camden County. Got to get some offense going. Got to get Greg Peacock healthy and get their big gun involved in the run game and the passing game. He's been nursing a hurt shoulder, and then he tweaked his ankle in game 2 against McIntosh County, which hasn't helped. And so it wasn't 100% still last week against the Wildcats. Hopefully he'll be better this week. But Glenn's got to get some offense going, or they're going to be in for a long season. And hopefully that starts this week.
And then so that'll be the nightcap on Thursday. And then move on over to Friday, Kevin. The first game on Friday is going to be Fitzgerald at Madison County. Madison County, Kevin, is where our Coach Coe currently the head coach at Coffee County. He was down there for 12 years, so he knows this school pretty well. Going to be taking on Fitzgerald. That game's going to be at 4:30. Fitzgerald been a part of this for the last 2 years, and I believe Fitzgerald was a winner last year, correct?
Yeah, and last year's game was real intriguing because both of these teams were coming off state championships in 2021. Madison won in Florida, I guess, under Coach Coe, because that would have been his first year last year at Coffee. And then Fitzgerald won under Coach Pruitt, the younger Pruitt. there in 2021. And, of course, last year, I just looked it up before we came on. Fitzgerald did win that ball game last year, by the way, 20-12. One of the better games on the weekend, too. It was a Saturday game last year, hot as blue blazes, let me tell you, before the rain came in later in the day. But that Fitzgerald did win that ball game. Madison had a tough year last year, finished 4-7, but of course Fitzgerald went on and played for the state championship again, went 14-1, and of course lost in the final, Sean, last year to an upstart Thompson team, 32-27, I believe it was. But Fitzgerald looks good again. Won their first 2 ball games. Lost last week to a pretty decent Northeast Macon team, 27-20. So they'll come in looking to rebound. And I would think Fitzgerald might at least be a slight favorite in this one. Of course, playing in the state of Georgia, but Madison County, again, with a heck of a tradition. They'll come here with some athletes, and it should be a good one.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. That'll be the first game, 4:30 there on Friday. And then for the nightcap on Friday, Kevin, we have Coach Cohen as Coffee County Trojans going to be taking on Bowles. Bowles was the feature game last year. They played Brunswick and wound up losing to Brunswick. And so we'll see if Coffee can get them this year.
Yeah, Coffee, of course, with some impressive wins. One of them, of course, over Bainbridge. So Coffee, I think, is just typical Coffee. I think big, strong, and fast. This Bowles team may not be as good as the Bowles team that they had last year, but that Bowles team was pretty good a year ago that Brunswick beat in this same spot. This is a primetime game. It's Friday night lights. So this year it's Coffee against Bowles instead of Brunswick against Bowles. And Bowles has already lost to St. Augustine, which Brunswick will play on Saturday. And that was a high-scoring game. We'll talk a little more about St. Augustine in a moment. But this should be a good one. It's a marquee matchup. 2 of the marquee teams, Border Classic. And, again, we'll be rooting on the Georgia teams, even though I have to be, unbiased there in the booth, try to call it straight up. But looking forward to seeing Coffee back between the bricks with another good squad this year.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
And that'll wrap up our Friday contest. And you got 3 games on Saturday, Kevin. We'll start off with the MCA versus West Nassau. That game's going to kick off at 1 o'clock on Saturday. MCA's got a really, really good football team this year. West Nassau coming off that big win over Charlton this past Friday night. So we'll see what happens there. But kind of got to give MCA the edge on this one.
Yeah, and they were off last week. And after playing Glen Academy tough a couple of weeks ago in a loss 14-6, of course, McIntosh won their opener over the Johnson High Adam Smashers pretty easily, 26-0 in Savannah. But McIntosh, no strangers to Glen County Stadium. They've already been there once this year. As a matter of fact, in a preseason scrimmage, our jamboree against Brunswick and Savannah Christian, didn't really get to play Savannah Christian, but played Brunswick tough for a quarter. Won that game, if you will, 6-0, I guess it was. But again, McIntosh, real physical. On both sides of the ball, particularly defense. Pretty simple offensively. They just come right at you downhill with a strong running game, good quarterback that runs the ball, good running backs that they rotate in and out. They laid the wood to West Nassau last year. This was another matchup that's going to be the same. They're just moving it, I think, from Thursday to Saturday. This will start off the action Saturday and probably going to be hot and steamy, but I look for McIntosh to be pretty hot as well and probably win this one for the state of Georgia.
Yeah, 1 o'clock start's going to be a little warm. So, but then we'll move on to the 4 o'clock game, Kevin. We've got Richmond Hill going to be taking on Creekside. Now, Creekside beat Glenn last year in a close one, 21-20, and then Richmond Hill lost that thriller to Baker County there on Saturday night. So, we'll see who can get the big W here on the Georgia versus Florida game.
Richmond Hill better hope it's not raining in this one because Creekside's pretty good when it's wet and monsoon.
Yeah, they are.
They were impressive last year in that game against Glenn. They're well coached, real disciplined football team. They had some offensive firepower from what I remember. Good quarterback, I think he's back. Good running back, I think he's back. They can score now. I think they lost their first game 55-48 against Palm Beach Central. Won their game, I guess last week 59-23 over Nice. Of course, that's where Tim Tebow used to go to school for whatever that's worth. But Creekside's 1-1. Richmond Hill, obviously, I think a good team, better than they were last year. I think maybe if I had to just throw out maybe a key for Richmond Hill, it might be to keep that ball with a ground game and maybe shorten that ball game and keep it away from Creekside and try to keep the score down in this one because it does look like, just based on those two scores, that Creekside can put that ball in the end zone. So it might be to Richmond Hill's advantage to line up and run that ball right out on themselves.
Yeah, those are big scores there for Creekside. But and then the marquee game there on Saturday night, Kevin, Brunswick High versus St. Augustine. Brunswick High, like I said, got the big win over Camden, but then their game last Thursday night got postponed due to the hurricane. St. Augustine lost to Coffee last year, so they kind of want to get one in the W column. But this would be a really, really good matchup there Saturday night, kicking off at 7:30.
You know, it's kind of strange, Sean. You know, just take Glen Academy, for instance. When they get done on Thursday night, they will have played 4 games before the Pirates will have even kicked off in their second game.
Yep.
Kind of strange there, but it is what it is. Brunswick had to sit on the sidelines in their opening game on August 18th because Andrew Jackson couldn't play them. So that ended up being an off week. Then won that opener, an impressive opener for the Pirates 2 weeks ago against Camden County. And then unfortunately got hurricaned out last week against Winter Park. We'll leave it at that. I think Winter Park ended up not really wanting to come down again Friday or Saturday, and I'll leave it at that as well. But then I don't know if Brunswick's going to have a chance to maybe make up one somewhere down the line or not. If they can find somebody in an off week, we'll talk to Coach Grady about that on the podcast, and haven't been able to talk to him yet this week. But that is going to be a topic of conversation on our podcast. Of course, we'll talk about this St. Augustine game, but Coffee beat St. Augustine last year in the middle game on Saturday. That one had some thunder and lightning and put things behind schedule and made for a long Saturday out there on the final day of the Border Classic and put that Richmond Hill Baker County nightcap behind and made for a little bit of a long final day. But I think the St. Augustine team is better than they were last year, so it's going to be a real challenge for Brunswick. They won their first game against Spruce Creek, I think it was 47-0, and beat Bowles, like I said, 43-36. So it looks like Brunswick's defense is going to get tested. And again, the key for the Pirates, not that they really have to play keep away, Sean, but I think they might want to shorten the game a little bit, use their weapons that they have in the ground game, and maybe kind of control the ball a little bit and play some keep away from this St. Augustine team to keep their defense from getting worn out. And again, they've only played one game, spent more time on the practice field than they have anything else.
And this is one of those games where you want to have those 10, 12, 15 play drives that end in touchdowns. That'll help you out, to beat a team that scores a lot of points. Well, Kevin, rest your voice up. You're going to be on the call for all these games there at Glenn County Stadium this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of great football played. So if you're looking for some high school football, get on over there any of these days because you'll see great football regardless of what day it is. But that's going to wrap it up for the games coming up this Friday night. Appreciate everybody watching On Air with 912 Sports. Stick around. We'll be right back after these messages.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.